Well, North Korea taking terrifying steps in its nuclear ambitions after launching a missile that could potentially hit the United States of America. Now the U.S. is requesting even stricter sanctions on the rogue nation. U.S. Envoy Nikki Haley making a point of serious consequences should war break out. Listen to her here.
The dictator of North Korea made a choice yesterday that brings the world closer to war, not farther from it. We have never sought war with North Korea, and still today, we do not seek it. If war does come, it will be because of continued acts of aggression like we witnessed yesterday.
If war does come, how close are we to that? Joining me here on set to discuss, Fox News military analyst General Jack Keane. General Keane, always good to see you. Are we potentially heading down that path?
Well, I think it is an accurate characterization. I mean, this is clearly an acceleration of his program. It's the largest missile he's ever fired. It can reach the entire range of the continental United States. So his technology is advancing. He's racing to get this technology as quickly as he can. He still has some challenges out there with a re-entry vehicle coming from outer space back into the Earth's atmosphere. He has to miniaturize a weapon to be able to put on it. And normally, to ensure that he's actually accomplished that, there's some kind of atmospheric test. So those are things that are still in front of him. But nonetheless, let's be honest here. He's made some real progress here. And the ambassador, our ambassador to the UN, it's an accurate characterization because he is racing to a nuclearized ICBM capability. We are closer to war.
Mm-hmm. Because we're not going to allow him to have that.
We're not going to allow him to have it. But there's a lot of in-between, Trish.
Okay.
And that in-between is just strangling this guy as much as we can economically. They want more sanctions. You know, what we did in the past is we capped the oil export out of China, and we capped their worker market that they did, and many countries participate in that where they hire North Koreans. What we want to do now is just shut it down. We tried to do that with the last resolution, the last UN resolution, but Russia and China wouldn't agree to it. So she's going to try to get them to agree to that now. So what we want to do is just tighten that noose. The problem is that he's racing to this capability. Pompeo says it's likely months, not years, for them to get the final capability. But sanctions, economic sanctions, take time. You don't get the result overnight, and that's one of the challenges that we have.
If we only have months and not years, then are sanctions really going to do what you need them to do? Well, if they take that much time.
I'm not convinced China is all in yet, although I think the conversation President Xi has with President Trump is probably very positive in that sense. They both agree in principle, denuclearize North Korea, and that's something that China had never agreed to in the past. So the issue is how? What's the method? Are you moving fast enough?
Do they have the capability, the Chinese, to actually really push the issue?
I think they have significant leverage to do this. And I also believe, I mean, realistically, I mean, let's just say it straight out. They can change this leader out if they want to. And
the Chinese can.
Yeah, put another leader in there that clearly is aligned with them. He's a staunch communist, but he's not creating this kind of nightmare scenario. The Chinese do not want war on the Korean Peninsula. Their ambitions are enormous with this new president and his power. He wants to dominate not just the Pacific region, but he wants to replace the United States.
This is a big deal what you're saying there. You're saying that the Chinese can change out Kim Jong-un. And, you know, I've said all along, why don't we do that? Can't we do that? Shouldn't we do that? Maybe we don't have the ability, but they do.
I doubt we have it. And I'm not suggesting this would be easy. But clearly they have thought about it in their own meetings that they've had in terms of what options do we have here? Can we get to this guy and put somebody else in play there? I mean, they have a better sense of what is happening there. But they also have made the point to the president that, listen, while we have leverage, we also are challenged by this regime because of the closeness of the regime, the secrecy of the regime. They keep a lot from China. And so I understand that. But I still believe that's an option that's out there. Another option is out there, Trish, and when the regime is getting squeezed pretty bad internally, and they can see that it's potential for economic collapse, some of his own leaders may make that decision and say, look, we got to stop this.
You already saw
We're
the
heading
soldier,
to a
right?
nightmare here.
Crossing the border, trying to get out of North Korea. So perhaps, yeah, when you have that many sanctions and life becomes that miserable, it starts to look more attractive to not be part of that regime.
But we can't rely on those options. We got to, because those are kind of hopeful options. We got to rely on something that's more realistic. But those things are out there.
All right, General Jack Keane, thank you. Oh, by the way, I'm going to see you in Los Angeles
right.
at the Reagan Defense Forum. General Keane is going to be there, and we're going to be talking about our strategy for defense in the coming years. It's going to be an interesting conversation, so I'll see you there.
And you're hosting a panel.
Yeah, I am, on Saturday, right here on Fox Business. Thanks so much, General. See you there.